Great. So, is my voice all right? Hello?
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Hello, everyone.
Okay.
Good
Hi.
morning.
Hi,
Can
Victory.
you hear
Hi.
me?
Yes.
How are
Good
you?
morning. Hi. How are you?
I'm
Nice
good,
to see
good.
you
How are
again.
you? Yes, yes, sorry. Sorry
Okay.
about yesterday.
It's fine. It's fine.
Something just,
Uh-huh.
I
We
don't know,
we
it's one
had
of
a
those
very
Mondays.
we had a very productive discussion. I mean,
Oh,
Herman and
nice.
I.
Uh,
You can watch
I don't know
the
if,
recording. Yeah.
did you record it? I don't think it's on. I don't think it's on.
Maybe it's not yet because right now in Taiwan we have a holiday. It's actually
Oh,
a long 4-day holiday. So
wow.
probably tomorrow you'll be here. Okay.
Okay, okay.
Yep.
Nice.
All right. But
All right.
yeah. So you like to
Um,
start?
yes.
Okay.
So
All
I
right.
think to
All
a
right.
certain extent, let me just share my screen. How was the weekend? I hope everyone had a great weekend. Sorry.
Oh yes. Herman, you, Herman, you want to share a game from your weekend?
Ooh. Can't remember now. I think I implemented some reinforcement learning algorithm or something which was working, so that was
Oh,
nice.
jeez.
Oh,
Nice.
nice.
That's
Okay.
some strong stuff.
And yeah, and basically
Yeah.
I finished the book Trailblazer by the founder of Salesforce, Mark. It's a book I also highly recommend for you, Victory.
Okay.
I think he's a role model, real role model, for social entrepreneurs.
Oh,
Yeah.
nice.
So yeah.
Please, if you
All right.
mind, just sharing the link maybe on the
Okay.
Slack
Sure.
channel.
I'll do that. I'll do that.
Thanks.
Yeah. Okay.
All right.
Yeah.
But yeah, thanks everyone.
Okay.
Oh yes, I had a sort of very restful weekend. I didn't
Okay.
realize how exhausted I was until I slept on Friday, and oof, it
Oh.
was
Okay.
nice,
Okay. So
refreshing.
a lot of
And
recovery, right?
a lot of recovery. Yes,
Okay.
yes.
Nice. Excellent. All right. So yeah, go
So,
ahead. Go ahead.
all right. Starting with okay, I've not received the GitHub link for a leader. But I think we have a session on Thursday. I've not set that up yet, but I'm going to set that up, the recurring session. But we
Okay.
had a productive meeting with Professor Herman on Friday. I don't know if
Oh,
Professor
nice.
Herman discussed that with you yesterday. But in terms of, I think the summary of that meeting was, a leader can focus on the PubSub architecture part, while I focus on the forwarding part. And
Okay.
then we are just going to compare notes as to the particle design of the messaging format, for example, making sure it aligns so that when the the forwarding is done, we can simply just integrate. It's not going to be too difficult to join them together.
Okay.
With regards to the okay, I'm not sure. I've not reached out to Josh yet. Maybe I should actually do that today or tomorrow to just follow up, to just make sure that it's not struggling with the implementation.
Okay.
I don't know if Shinyun was able to reach any of um getting
Okay.
feedback from David.
So so far there hasn't been new updates on that front. I did send message to David. Haven't got some feedback yet.
All right.
And and I guess the other students. Well, right now I think it's the client that we're looking for. So there is another another person I might talk to. He's in my AMP group, Ben
Okay.
Hardy's course. But
Okay.
basically, he's thinking about building, virtual learning environments in the future, and he's
Oh,
willing to
nice.
do some, I think, some investments in that front.
Oh, nice. Oh,
So
it's really cool.
I'm not yet sure how that might connect, but he's been busy with a I mean, his house was destroyed in a in a flooding.
Oh wow.
So actually, he's been, being moving house and also his office, in the last couple of weeks. But
Okay.
well, I think I'll catch up with him and basically exchange about this. Yeah,
All
this
right.
is more background.
Okay.
Okay, so yeah,
Sounds good.
that's what
Sounds-
I guess my update.
All right. Thank you. Thank you, sir.
Mhm.
And Professor Herman, I don't know if you had any update with regards to the MQTT implementation.
Yeah, so I got something which is subscribing and unsubscribing, and it's nearly at the point where it's publishing. Well, it can decide what the clients are that must publish. The catch is just getting that back to in the specific implementation of the MQTT server. It's about how to have MQTT then forward that publication to the clients which are connected to it. So I just need to figure out how they're doing it so that I can hook into the right place. So that's where
Okay.
I'm with it. Yeah. So
Oh, nice.
it's yeah. I have to dig through their code and figure out what they're doing.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Sounds good. It sounds like stuff is happening. By the way, sorry, I feel very energized. I'm not really sure if it's coffee or if it's the rest, but I'm sort of feeling fired up. Um, with regards to the okay, so I'm just gonna maybe before I get started, I was able to get a friend of mine who actually is involved with website development. He is quite good at well, he's like a freelancer who does like website for clients and stuff like that. And I actually did ask him if he was open to like building something where there's not like payments involved and stuff like that. And he's
Mhm.
actually quite interested in that. He just said I just need to give him like details and stuff like that. But we potentially have a website developer who can help
Oh,
with the
nice,
website,
nice.
yeah,
Okay,
website
that's very
development of
nice.
things. Yeah.
Mhm.
So that's that. With regards to Ragav, we couldn't meet over the weekend, but we have the plan for either sometime this week and also Sunday. So what I actually was thinking of as well was maybe what I can do is because, for example, with Josh and
Raquel?
um yes, and Ragav, sorry. Both of them are actually fine with similar times, like in South African time now, like in the evening, like 6 o'clock, 5 o'clock in the evening. So what I can do is I can create one link for sync sessions for everyone,
Mhm.
and then everyone just joins maybe every 15 minutes. So maybe the first 15 minutes, I have like a session with Ragav where we discuss what has happened and what's next. And then Ragav can leave if he wants, or he can choose to stay if he wants. And then someone else joins, maybe Josh, 15 minutes in, and we do like a bit of a crash course sort of update where this is what has happened, this is what happened, and I can speak to our leader as well to see what her timeline is like for evening times.
Okay, okay.
And
All
yeah,
right.
basically have one session or like an hour one day where we have like update with everyone.
I see.
And this can be
Okay.
done either on Saturday or Sunday, basically
Mhm.
the weekend.
I see.
Um,
Okay.
but yeah,
Oh,
yeah. Um, I don't know if someone joined.
oh, it's Herman. The other
Oh,
account is Herman.
sorry. Okay. I was able to share the document with the leader, which you already got. We had the session on Friday, or was it Thursday? Friday.
Okay.
Sorry.
All right.
Um,
So I guess
down to
just a quick feedback there. All right, Victory.
okay.
I actually was conversing with a friend who's in Ireland. Okay,
Okay.
about he's also doing his own startup and business basically incubation work. He talked
Nice.
about that the one challenge he's working with remote teams, but they are all in European time zones. So at most, probably 2 hours difference, between team
Okay.
members. And he said that like one of the main remaining challenge is for him to figure out a way to work across time zones. You know, for
Okay.
example, with people in Taiwan. So I guess what I like to feedback is if we can actually make this work, this is actually something quite valuable.
Okay.
I mean, the challenge we're facing now regarding time zone, I think that's actually one of the big challenge for remote collaborations. Okay.
Okay.
So in fact, this is something if we can address that that's going, I think, will be very valuable to scale up or to help others.
Mhm.
And I think one way to look at this is one obviously is the open source development model, and you know the open source community actually has been around the world, like Linux, right? The development for a lot of the major open source projects. So probably having some look at that, how they work. I know in the early days, it's mostly coordinated over emails. And that was before Git even exists, over emails and news groups. I think Herman probably has gone through that period, right? The news groups, the news on the internet. And the other thing is, I think there's still a lot of asynchronous tools we can use, you know, like video recording and also notes. So how to like
Okay.
best leverage those things and like ticket system, you know, like with the GitLab GitHub ticket system. So these are all things I think probably you know if we can adopt them, that would be very helpful.
Okay.
Okay, so just feedback for Victoria. All right.
All right. Well, thank you. That's a good one. Maybe like video updates or even channel updates.
Right.
Like,
And like maybe like a regular sync summary for everyone,
okay.
something like
Alright.
that. But I
Okay.
mean, I guess what I'm trying to say is be creative, you know, in terms of how to get things done or how to get people coordinated across. And
Okay.
if it works, that's very valuable in and of itself as well.
Okay.
Okay. All right. So yeah, please continue.
All right. All right. Thank you for that. I guess next is to go into the action stuff, and I think there is some good news here pending. Again, the yellow stuff is basically, I'm not sure if I should leave it there or if I should just take it out. Some of this stuff, for example, it sounds a bit repetitive, but at the same time, it actually has some good information. So I just left it there. There needs to be one sort of final read through, and I've not done that part yet where I actually print it out and then like highlight with the pen and read like a, you know, and maybe I'll just ask Alida to help with that as well, to just read through in terms of, I will also try to ask a friend to read through to look for like typos and stuff like that. But in theory, this is more or less, let me not say good to go, but yeah, the key stuff is there.
Okay.
I think
Nice.
I can lead this away.
The first version, right?
The first version, yeah.
Okay. Nice.
In terms of, I think this part challenges, there's still a bit of, okay, for discussion, for example, the challenge I'm having here is a lot of discussion has been sort of put in this chapter 3 and chapter 4. So saying that again here is a bit of repetition. And I was thinking perhaps maybe what I should do is put in what has been done, but in like one paragraph for each section, like a summary. But wouldn't that be like a concluding chapter, not necessarily discussion? Also, stuff like challenges. Is that necessary? Because in theory, I have put in a challenge that would experience, for example, sorry, here, for example, in the, when I, okay, maybe I should just talk about what I did here. When I spoke about preliminary results, I was saying in this section, we discuss some of what we discovered in our attempt to solve for spatial publish subscribe. We break down, maybe I should take out first, some of these learnings that have been done. And we start with backend, where we are saying, okay, we wanted to develop something that's useful for all spatial applications. However, there was a challenge which was in convincing specific industries, for example, IoTs, to use our product, because there were all these subcomponents that were sort of fused into this one vast library. And for example, in IoT application, they only need the publish subscribe components. They might not necessarily need the partitioning component. So one of the things we did, for example, was to developing them such that their components, or should I say reusable components format, where the design was done such that each component was sort of independent of the other components. Where, for example, if you choose to do a different partitioning, you can. And if you choose to do a different network, instead of P2P, you want to use something else, you should be able to use something else while using the spatial PubSub component that we have developed. That was what I was trying to say here, which was a challenge. And also, we also made it such that to make it easy to integrate with the existing systems, because one of the challenges we also faced was it would be difficult for a company that already has IoT product just switch 100% or do a complete switch to a spatial-based PubSub. So what we're suggesting is we build something, or we use an existing PubSub architecture and then extend it, which is, for example, we use our MQTT. We took an MQTT implementation and then we extend it for spatial, such that an IoT industry, for example, they can either choose to use channel-based and then test it out with the spatial-based, or use both. But they wouldn't need to completely change, or they wouldn't be too scared to change completely if they always know they can go back to channel-based PubSub if something goes wrong. And the idea was to now show some of the work that's been done. I'm not really sure if I should use them as references. It's just the references don't really come out right.
So Victory,
Sorry?
so the fact that we're taking the MQTT and extending it so that industry will adopt it. I mean, that's fine, but that's not really the focus of the research proposal. The research proposal is more about answering those questions we spoke about last time. So in your preliminary results, or in your plan, you basically want to focus on how do you want to go about answering these research questions, not necessarily how do you want to make the library accessible to industry. Basically, the research proposal is evaluated by academics, and for them, whether it's easy for industry to adopt it or not, they regard that as, once you've proven that it is useful, someone can sort out the details of making it accessible to industry. So the focusing on what is your plan to answering these questions, I think is the focus on of the research proposal.
Oh, okay.
It's not a pitch for funding. It's basically it's you convincing a bunch of professors that what you are doing will lead to a novel and significant contribution in knowledge.
Okay. Oh, okay.
All right.
So, for
okay.
example, sorry, I don't know if I want to say something.
No. I mean, thanks, Herman, for mentioning that. I have to apologize for perhaps misleading a bit on writing that, because I think I did mention that those are kind of what we have, the results of the discussions we have come so far, including the MQTT collect. Yeah, but I agree with Herman that it should more relate to answering the research question. Okay.
Yes.
I do feel that it's still of value to mention those things, but
yes, yeah.
probably in a different section. Okay,
yes.
Probably, yeah,
Okay.
I agree. Probably more suitable in different section. Like
Okay.
in terms of the like discussing the implementation considerations, for example.
Yes. Yeah.
Or
Precisely.
right, or the work that's to be done. Yeah. But yes, I think preliminary results probably should be better suited for answering the questions, Victor, you're showing now, the problems,
yeah.
research problems. Yeah.
So I would that about extending the MQTT implementation or making it more accessible. I would rather briefly mention that in a progress. Like that's the progress so far. Saying, okay, what have we done thus far? Well, we have gotten a library and we have adapted it and things like that. But I think a good friend of mine, Gregor Schiele, says that for something like a PhD, you're trying to answer a research question. During the process of answering the research question, you will be building some kind of a system to help you in answering that question. But the focus is not on the system you're building. The focus is on answering the question. So the building the library and making it accessible to industry and things like that's more about the system you're building to answer the question. You can think about it. It's like you're an architect you're an architect and you've made a plan, of a new building, and you're trying to convince the client that this is the building that you want to build. And now you're focusing on the scaffolding, which is going to be around the building, instead of focusing on the building itself, if that makes sense.
Okay. I see. All right. That actually makes sense. All right. So, okay, in this case, then I'm just trying to maybe should say an example now. When we say how spatial pop-up architecture performs. So in this case, are we saying, or am I saying something like, okay, what we're planning to do, for example, is to measure say message delivery. Well, we plan to do this by measuring the message delivery speed or the latency. Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And there you should focus on, like, how do you want to set up the environment in which you test that? How will you, how many nodes will you have? What will the nodes be running on? Will it be in simulation, or will you have actual hosts running the code? That's the type of, it's like describing the experimental, environment that you develop in order to help you answering these questions.
Okay. One feedback is for the first question, how spatial pop-up architecture perform. I think it might more be like how it can be designed. Okay. Because before you're asking performance question, you actually have to first explain how are you going to actually make it work.
Okay.
Right? Like, how does it really work? Right? And that's kind of actually the main question we're exploring. Like, how do you design the architecture? How do you ensure that the function can be supported? And how can you scale it?
Okay.
Right?
So in terms of the design, was that not technically answered in the section 3?
Yes, but I mean, in terms of the problem, I'm talking about the problem.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
I mean, the question would be to answer how can such a system be designed, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then you talk about how does it perform,
Yes.
right? And,
Okay.
right.
Okay. Should we add that as a research question then? I think it's a
okay.
research question.
Actually, performance is probably not a research question. Okay. I mean, to say it strictly, no, sorry, I take that back. I guess what I'm trying to say is, the research question is usually, again, like what Herman said, adding knowledge. So the question might be something like, how can we make this a, basically make it scalable, right? So that it can scale to large number of nodes, or scale to large, area sizes. That is kind of, I mean, that will relate to performance, because
Okay.
you see,
Okay. Okay.
because if you are very inefficient in your message or computing power use, the system is not going to scale, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, that actually relates back to the scalability issue. So I would say it's more like asking how can you design one, and then how can you make it scale? How can you scale it?
Okay. So I'm just taking it.
And performance, I would actually put that as maybe part of the how do you scale it, or maybe as yeah.
Okay. Okay. So this can be the performance question then.
Right, exactly. That is
Um,
actually related to performance.
Okay. Okay. Nice. All right. Okay. Makes sense. Makes sense.
And the preliminary result, again, going back to preliminary results. So maybe addressing a bit like what's like the current preliminary design, right? So that is something you can mention about in terms of the architecture, in terms of the message protocol, the procedures taken, right?
Okay.
Okay.
Perhaps it's okay. Trying to see now, perhaps there's a way to sort of show, maybe I should merge that with this then, our approach part, because some of that has been discussed here as well in terms of the sequence.
Right.
Right. And I'm trying to sequence and forwarding, or maybe this forwarding, for example, should go into preliminary results then.
Okay.
Well,
okay.
I mean, I would rename preliminary results into progress. You know,
right. Yes, I mean, agree. That's probably more suitable for what we have.
yeah, or progress to date or something like that. And then you can talk about, I think, the design of the forwarding algorithm that you've done and the backend application, and you can talk about that part. But once again, it would be really useful if you share the link to this, the newest version, because
okay. So the problem, and I think there's one thing I need to do. I just need to, this Visio diagrams, I need to convert them to images. I don't know if there's like a way to just convert all of them at once. But I'll share this now. Or maybe I should share this. Okay, let me save this as something else. Save as, because once it goes onto Google, it's almost like the comments don't go back to review. I'm just going to share this and then share the Google Drive link. So that in case the comments don't come back to Word, which they won't. But I think the next phase after making all these changes, I'm going to start transferring it to Overleaf. I don't know, I forgot about Overleaf, the LaTeX on Overleaf, because at least that would work. The one on my computer does not want to work properly for some reason. So I'm going to move all of this to LaTeX, so that at least there's like this one big place where everything is, and I don't have to worry about version control and that kind of stuff. I'm going to share this link now. Share link.
Okay. All right. So Victor, maybe to plan for tomorrow. Once we're done with this.
Okay. So with regards to the website guy, I think you might only be able to join on Mondays, because I think that's when it's usually free. Okay, just what am I doing here? RG, JS, a leader. Okay, shit, doc. Okay, clean up. And in terms of the discussion, then in terms of challenges, will that then be necessary, or can everything just go into that one section and maybe a conclusion section that just discusses what we discussed in the proposal so far?
Yeah, you do have a timeline there which says what are the milestones that you want to reach.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah,
Awesome.
Cool.
Okay, Simon can continue that. I'm just gonna take this out. Josh can continue with that.
So Alida said she will. We spoke yesterday about the architecture, and she will hopefully. I mean, I don't think she sent it to me, but she should be attending tomorrow's meeting, and then she will share basically the architecture of the project.
Okay, nice. Step. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Let me reach out to. Okay, I already put that. Progress. Okay. There's 22. 21. 21. Okay. 16. Oh, geez. Okay. Can I change this time to 23?
Okay.
Again,
So
Yeah.
I guess the question is, what is the goal at that day by that time? What would
To,
you like to finish by then?
basically to have finished the write-up.
Okay.
Write up plus the cleanup part, which is like the references and all that kind of scene.
Okay. I guess one question is how should we determine and judge when the draft is ready, right?
Sorry,
Or
just repeat that.
how do we judge when
Okay.
or if the draft is ready? For example, like, is this something that Herman will make a feedback decision?
yes. Because I'm part of the panel that evaluates it, but then I also
Okay.
need to send it out to the panel for them to evaluate it.
Right.
So,
Okay. So you have to pass Herman first, right?
yes,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay.
Maybe I should say finish first draft.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I mean, we do need to have this completely finished by next week, because the panel has about, it basically needs a week to have a look at it, and then it needs to give its recommendation, I think by the 9th or of October or something like that.
Mhm.
So there is no, I mean, we do need to send it out next week. Otherwise the panel doesn't have enough time to look at it. So that deadline won't move later.
Okay. Well, that's fine. I will finish the first draft 23rd, which is on Thursday.
Mhm.
And when
Okay.
I say finish, basically based on all these changes done, maybe some feedback from tomorrow as well, updates on that. And then Friday, I can transfer it to LaTeX, or at least basically over the weekend. And I'm guessing there might be some, maybe, I'm hoping, let's say, minor changes or minor edits, and then take the weekend to fix those minor edits in LaTeX. And then by Monday, we should have something concrete for,
Okay, cool. That's good.
yeah, for evaluation.
Okay.
Cool.
All right. Let's go for it then. Okay.
Okay.
Cool.
All right. Oh, thanks,
Yes.
Victory. And so I think we'll
Thanks,
see you
everyone.
tomorrow. All right.
Yes.
Yes.
Got in the
Yes.
hang up. Okay. All right. Talk then.
Cheers, everyone.
Okay. Yeah.
That's fine.
See you tomorrow.
Bye.
Bye bye. Take care.